They're speaking Arabic as the first language. I would say that's the only language all of my participants are speaking, and they're considering their Arabic a form of a localized dialect of Arabic. That's the Palestinian dialect, but I would say they're not worried about the traditional or the standard Arabic, because they've had a lot of training in that, really. So they don't seem to be aware or conscious that I should use this kind of variety or that kind of variety, and this is the standard. And it's smoothly going, I would say. Well, maybe in the spoken language, we might use technology for video chats, and in that case, we tend to use the local dialect of Arabic. But when we're using other social utilities, like in Facebook, for example, where we get to have friends with different languages. Some of our friends are speaking Arabic, other friends are speaking English. So we have a really interesting phenomena in Facebook, that half of the sentence is in Arabic and the other half is in English. Or you might know that the script of Arabic is different from the script in English. But nowadays, if you look on Facebook, most of the Arabic sentences are written using English letters, and that's a strange phenomena, really, how they're trying to change the script of the language. I would say it could be a kind of assimilation with other friends who are speaking English. So in order not to make them feel that they're left out, I would, or any of my friends would, speak sometimes in English, sometimes in Arabic, sometimes mix the two of them. Sometimes it's an English word and then an Arabic word and then another English word, in a real funny discourse, but it shows how our social interaction is making us think of the choices of the language we're making.
A balance.
In my training in Gaza, it was more of cognitive wise. So we were studying psycholinguistics in details, and I never worried about the socio-cultural aspect of the language. But in my training here at York St John, I was exposed to different theories of language. So now I'm more aware of the linguistic theory, the linguistic approach, the cognitive approach, and the socio-cultural approach. So at the end of all the training that I've had until now, I've focused on all the kinds of approaches to a language. Well, again, it depends on the kinds of the learners I'm dealing with. So if some of the learners, they want to be Americans, they want to sound Americans, they want to sound British, they want to sound Irish. It depends on the learner's needs, really. Some of the learners are happy with the identity they've got so far. They want to know language as a language, for written communication skills. So again, it depends on the learners, but I would say at the end of the day, it's a combination between the cognitive and the socio-cultural approach of language, because we cannot separate the two, really. The focus on this approach or on that approach is determined by our learners, so it depends. That's an interesting point, really. Most of the books, the recent books in applied linguistics, are criticizing applied linguistics in a way or another. And I'd like to quote Alan Davis, who was criticizing applied linguistics as being part of the empire of linguistics. And he was saying, I don't see the mediation applied linguistics is claiming to perform. So I assume that probably in the coming decades, the future of applied linguistics might change towards focusing more on the teachers, because they've been ignoring teachers for a while. They might be even more interested in researches of naturalistic sittings, because most of the research that has been done in the past few decades was in experimental sittings, and now that applied linguists are more critical of those researches, and they're saying this is not reflecting what is actually going on, and we need to keep things in naturalistic sittings, and we need to allow the natural variables, let's call it, we need to allow those natural variables to occur, because we're not going to be able to take control over them in classrooms. So hopefully the future of applied linguistics will tend to be more applied and more practical. I think if it depends on the future of applied linguistics, but if the future of applied linguistics, as I expect it to be, is becoming more of applied and more of practical, I assume that the future of language teaching will witness a sort of converge between language teaching and applied linguists. And I really hope that the separation of the two words might end if applied linguists start to become more applied in their work, and in the language they're using and in the place where they're publishing their work. I assume that teachers on the other side will be more interested in that, because that's something I've noticed while I was collecting my data. My teachers or my participants were very interested in knowing the theories, and even some of them asked for more theories, and they were saying if the theories of applied linguistics are this simple, this nice, and this interesting, we need to have more of them, and please send us more. So I don't promise to send any for the meantime, because I'm focusing on one model so far, but I hope that in the future those teachers who are really keen on reading more and more about theories without having to carry a big book with complex terms, I hope that those things and those interests of those teachers might become real if we as applied linguists try to consider them more in the future. Well, I'm very optimistic, really, because I'm listening to the voices of the teachers, and they want to know more, and that's very positive. The voices of researchers is there once you open any book, once you open any journal article. So if the voices of researchers is there, and the voices of teachers start to become more audible and they want to know more, I'm optimistic that at the end we might bring the two words together, converge them, and make them one word of language teaching and applied linguistics.